and be so successful?
No. No, as a matter of fact, I didn't. I have to say honestly that I knew when it first occurred to me, when the idea first occurred to me back in Chicago while I was still working in radio, that it had that kind of potential. But no one could have told me that it would have happened in such a relatively short time, you know.
And you did have a background in radio, too. Did that, you've got a great voice and a great presentation. I know a lot of people like to mimic you, and you handle that well. But did that give you a lot of background for doing the role you do on it?
Absolutely. The radio experience is, you know, television is a natural transition to go to from radio. And radio and television, needless to say, are very much related. And while in radio, I learned how to read, and read in broadcasting means something different than it means in general. And I think it's the basis for everything you do in broadcasting. You know, in other words, if you read well by broadcasting standards, you will eventually become a good ad-libber as well. You know, it all has to do with how you train yourself to deliver words. And I trained real hard. You know, I trained very hard. I used to drive my wife and my kids crazy, reading things and taping myself, and people look at me and say, wow, this guy was born to be what he is. And, you know, I worked very hard on it, you know.
How do you handle the criticism some blacks make that shows of this nature should do more than just entertain, and you're not living up to the purposes and the goals of the wider adventures blacks should be pursuing?
Well, I could say that I resent those kinds of comments, but I'm just not into criticizing other black people. I think that's the most sinful thing a black person can do. And in regard to a black person who would raise one finger about something as harmless as Soul Train, with all of the evils and all of the